Good morning, guys. Hope y'all doing all right. At least it's morning here. It may be afternoon when y'all watching this video. But today, let's talk about some Irish Setter boots. I bought these boots this past year. They're Irish Setter Elk Trackers. They are the 12-inch, 1,000-gram Thin Slate Ultra Gore-Tex waterproof boots. And y'all, they have been fantastic so far. I've only used them for one deer season, but I hunted probably 40 to 50 something days, and I did saddle hunt every single time that I hunted. So I was standing on my platform for every one of those hunts and hiking the mountains, side hill, and everything else. And these boots did so well, that's why I want to do this review on them. I've never done a boot review before because I just haven't found any that I really liked. Now, I've always worn Lacrosse Alpha Burley Sports, but I've typically hunted flat ground and swampland where you needed rubber boots. And I wear a size 13, so they were really, really heavy. And when I started transitioning over to doing some mountain hunting, then I started having some severe problems between my ankles, my footbed. I mean, everything was just awful. Even my hips, sometimes your hips get to aching just from picking up those heavy boots. These boots right here, like I said, these are a 13, size 13. It's a big old boot. And they come in just over 2.5 pounds each, which is relatively light for a full leather boot. As far as the sole thickness, you see when I go to bend this boot, it wants to stay stiff right there in the arch. They're not a really, really stiff boot like say a Kenetrek or a Crispy. They're not quite as stiff as those, but they do have enough stiffness and enough ankle support to where they do fantastic on mountains and in rocks. One thing that I do really like about these in rocks, the sole on them is fairly bias ply, like what you would consider the softness of like a good mud tire. They're soft. They're not so soft that they tear up. I haven't had any cuts or anything like that from walking those sharp rocks, but they're soft enough where they take a lot of that impact while you're walking. But also, when you step on the edge of those rocks, they don't have a tendency to slip off of them. They want to kind of grab. Really like that about them too. Now, as far as how they compare to, say, a Crispy or a Kenetrek or Zamberlins, any of those, I can't really compare because I've never owned any of them. I have tried on some in stores. I've been skeptical about ordering any because they are so expensive. It's one of the reasons why I ended up with these boots. But I've just never tried on any of those others that fit my feet right. Now, my feet are narrow, and I have a fairly flat foot. It's not a completely flat arch, but I do have fallen arches from working so many years on concrete. So my feet are long, skinny, and flat. Just for reference, these do fit to size on my feet. And they're snug enough. I don't know if it's the 1,000 grams of Thin Slate or if you got like a 200 or 600 gram, if it would be quite as snug around your ankles. But the leather itself is not really tight. The inside of the boot is snug. When you get them on your feet, they almost feel too small. Once you get them laced up and get to walking in them, the snugness actually fits perfectly. It's not uncomfortable on your foot. It kind of gives you support. But now, as far as the other styles go on the Irish Setter Elk Trackers, they've got several different kinds. They've got a few different heights. They've got a few different Thin Slate options. They've got them without Gore-Tex. And I tried on about 4 different styles, different kinds, and every single one of them fit completely differently. So before you go and buy some, I would recommend that you try them all on. For the price point, they're about $260 for these boots. Each one of them is a little bit different in price, but for what you're paying for these right here, I don't think you could find a better boot for the money, at least especially for mountain hunting. Now, I mean, obviously, if you're hunting in swamps, you need something a little bit taller, like a longer rubber boot. But I like the 12-inch height on these as opposed to, say, a 7 to 10-inch just because of the extra ankle support you get. And you do have the extra height if you do need to cross a stream or creek or something like that. So there again, this model is an 860. And for my feet, for me personally, these boots right here were the ones. Like when I put them on compared to the other ones, I was like, man, I'm buying these boots. And they have been just as comfortable out there hunting and hiking as they were when I tried them on in the store. So I've been really impressed with that. And one thing that I do on all of my shoes and all of my boots is I put in aftermarket insoles. I use Super Feet. They've got a hike cushion insole that is, it's a camouflage that's got topography lines on it. You just about have to order them. I haven't found them in any stores before, but I absolutely love those insoles, especially if you've got flat feet or have trouble with your arches, plantar fasciitis, that sort of thing. And when you step on it, it gives and then releases. So it's not too rigid when you're standing, but it does hold that arch up for you. And I like to replace all my insoles and all my boots and shoes right when I buy the boot. It just prolongs the boot life. You can replace insoles a whole lot cheaper than you can replace boots. So what I like to do is I'll pull the factory insoles out as soon as I buy a pair of boots, put those super feet insoles in, and go from there. After all of the hunting boot reviews that I went through before I ever bought these boots, trying to find a boot that was under $300, something that was fairly reasonable, I just thought that I'd make another review, give my 2 cents about what I thought about these things, because so far I have been impressed. Now, once this season's over with, I may do another review, see how they hold up after season 2. But for now, I hope this helps if y'all are trying to make a decision on what kind of hunting boot to buy this year. Good luck to y'all. We'll see y'all in the next video.